Hi, everyone. I'm Bethany Losada. Thank you so much for joining me today in my podcast, Overcomers, where we talk about how to overcome life's difficulties with a friend, faith, and a cup of tea. Today, I'm so excited to have my first guest on the show with me, my son, Lucas, and he's going to help me wrap up our series on Overcome by Anxiety to Overcomer, and he's going to be with me through my summer series that we're going to start in my next podcast, and we're going to talk about different things that families can struggle with over the summer break. The first one's going to be how to overcome family vacations. So it should be a lot of fun. Tune in with your kids or as a family, and we hope to see you throughout that series. Today, I made a fruit tea, and we're going to see if Lucas can guess what the flavor is. Go ahead.
Smells like a berry, so very fruity.
How does it taste?
Well, it tastes like fruit, and I'd say probably blueberry, blackberry, raspberry. So one of the berries.
It is a raspberry fruit tea, which is a great choice to drink with your kids because it's caffeine free and kind of a sweet flavor that's familiar. Next time we'll see if you can guess the next fruit tea that I'll do. So Lucas is going to help us wrap up our series of Overcome by Anxiety to Overcomer by talking about his own experiences with sports performance and fears of failure. Lucas, as we get started, I notice you're wearing a soccer jersey. Do you want to tell us what team it belongs to and who your favorite team is?
Well, this is my favorite team, and it's Arsenal FC, and they play in the Premier League in England. And they're my favorite team because I know them for a really long time, and I really like their players. And they're a very good team, and they're well-rounded. And I see your shirt's very bright. Can you tell us what jersey it is?
Yes, this jersey is from the country of Ecuador, where your papa's from, of course. And it's probably the only jersey I own, but I really love the colors, and I think it's really bright and fun to wear. So, Lucas, share us a little bit about your own journey in sports and trying to build a tough mentality.
When I first started off in soccer, I was put on the B team, and I was pretty good on the B team. I worked really hard, but then I got a tryout exception to the A team. And I didn't really want to do it at first, but then my mom pushed me to do it and wanted me to be more confident. And when I was in these tryouts, I remembered every time I made a mistake, it would really hurt me. It would cut me every time, thinking that, oh, the coach saw that, he's marking something down on his checklist. And that would just put me in a mental funk for the rest of the tryout. But then, after these tryouts, I got accepted onto the A team.
Well, why do you think you are having this fear or not wanting to try out for a new team and other things in school? I know that you were feeling timid about trying that was new.
Well, at school, I was very timid about trying the robotics club. And I didn't really want to try it because I was afraid that they wouldn't accept me. I wouldn't be smart enough. But when I got in there, I figured out I was one of the smartest there. And it was super fun. And we won a lot of tournaments. But the thing about soccer that I fear the most is probably that they're not going to accept me. And they're going to judge my every little mistake and make it a really big deal. And that became a really big deal for me.
So did you feel like that you had to be perfect or perform close to perfection in order to feel accepted? Otherwise, you were a failure?
Yes, because during the games or practices, every time I did a wrong touch or did the wrong skill move or let the ball get away from me, that would really bog me down, like I said. And then I would just feel like my friends wouldn't accept me and my coach would just turn away from me and think, he's not good enough. We should put him back on the bench.
Did anybody ever treat you like that or say anything like that to you, or was that just in your mind?
No, it was all in my mind. After the game, my friends would congratulate me, and I'd do the same to them. And maybe we would go to a lunch or a dinner afterwards, and would forget all about the mistakes that we had all made, and would have a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. So it was something that you were creating a difficulty for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I know that you went through a time wrestling with that and trying to figure out for quite a while. What are several of the tools or things that you use to help you battle and overcome those fears of failure?
One of the biggest tools that I used was this app called Techni. Now, my coach recommended it mostly because it works on skills and you can use it in your backyard or even in your living room. But then I saw I had a mental training session where you can learn from the pros, like pro soccer players, how to overcome mental struggles. And some of those sessions that it had were, if you make a mistake, don't focus on the past and what you had just done the mistake. Focus on what you're doing now and what you can do to affect the future.
Okay, so you were learning that the only thing that you could control was the present, and in that moment, you couldn't change the past and you couldn't predict or change the future. You could just be present in the moment.
Yes, and that helped me a lot. Also, somebody told me that all the players aren't focusing on you. Maybe just the manager is. But the players aren't thinking, oh, he just made a mistake. That's really bad. They're thinking about what they have just done and if they made a mistake. Or maybe if they need to pass the ball to somebody or receive the touch. It's like everybody's in their own little spotlight. Nobody's just focusing on you.
Right. Everybody has to focus on what they're doing in order to be successful, right? Mm-hmm. So did that feel a little freeing for you to realize the spotlight's not only on you with everybody just watching you?
Yes, it felt very freeing, and I felt like even if I make a mistake now, not everybody's going to criticize me.
Mm-hmm. What else? What's another lesson that you learned that really helped you pull through that time when you were struggling?
Well, just the little things. Maybe it's words of gratitude or words of praise. If my coach says, good shot, or my friend says, good tackle, then that would uplift me, even if I had just made a mistake. That would just bring me out of the hole, and it would really help me get back on my feet.
Mm-hmm. Did you use these techniques, anything besides just soccer? Were there other sports or things that you were applying this mindset to and getting over a fear of failure or perfection?
Well, it was a solo sport and it was track. So during track, I would always think I have to do the best because I was the only one running the 1600 and the 2400. I did have a really nice coach, but she pushed me really hard. And every time I ran or I didn't get a good PR or good time, that would really bog me down. I just think, I didn't make her proud. I didn't do this right. But then I saw this kid with a shirt at the track meet that said, my game, his glory. And that's saying that even though I'm running the game, I'm running the track, that it's for God's glory. Not for the coach's glory, not for your peers' glory, not for your own glory, but for God's glory.
And how did that change how you were performing or thinking, realizing that whatever you're doing is for God's glory and no one else's?
Well, it would just make me think that I'm not doing this just to please this person. I'm doing it for the Lord Almighty. And who else would you want in the audience but the Lord? And that would make you work really hard for it because you wouldn't want to displease him and you really want to work hard for him.
Mm-hmm. But then in the end, you felt some freedom knowing that just your effort and giving your best was enough to please him and make him proud, right? You didn't have to be the best one there, have the fastest time. You just needed to do your own best and be faithful with what you're called to do.
Yes, it would make me feel very accepted by him and made me feel very proud.
Mm-hmm. What advice would you give to maybe another student or parents who are struggling with this in their family, with a child who's afraid of failing or feeling like they need to be perfect and not able to meet those standards?
Well, if they're feeling like they need to be perfect and they're just falling short, then I would tell them, like I just said, do it for God's glory. Maybe you're pushing yourself just too hard. It's not like you're going to get a perfect score on every test or get a perfect time at every track meet. But you have to do it for God's glory and work your best at it. Maybe you have to take baby steps to get to your main goal and set smaller goals. Maybe if it's math, reread the study guide, fix the problems that you got wrong. Maybe ask the teacher for advice and humble yourself.
Mm-hmm. Great. Thank you, Lucas, for sharing some of your journey and some good tips on how we can build mental toughness and push through difficult times and overcome fears of failure and even how we perform in sports. I know that there was a Bible verse that meant a lot to you during this time that you would kind of lean into and recite when you were getting down and frustrated. Would you like to share that with us?
Yes, it's Isaiah 41, 9-10. You whom I took from the ends of the earth and called from his farthest corners, saying to you, you are my servant. I have chosen you and not cast you off. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you, I will help you, and I'll uphold you with my righteous right hand.
And what is it that verse spoke to you? What truth did you hold on to from that?
It tells me that God handpicked me. I'm not worthless excess, but everybody is worth something in God's eyes, and he'll strengthen us and help us, and he'll uphold us in his righteous right hand.
Mm-hmm. So you were chosen, you were blessed and accepted and loved, and you could hold on to that even when you were afraid of failing or letting other people down. You knew that you weren't letting him down.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. Lucas, would you close us in a prayer today?
All right, please pray with me. Dear Lord, thank you for all that you've given us, as you blessed us so wonderfully, and you give us so many opportunities to please you, God. Please help us not to be anxious to try anything, God, and that we would try everything, and that we would put our best effort in it to please you and do it for your glory and not for the glory of others. That would work really hard and just love all and help others who are struggling with this matter. Jimmy, pray, you will be done. Amen.
Thank you so much, Lucas, for your willingness to share and encourage others. And we can't wait to share our summer series with you. We're going to have a lot of fun. So we hope to see you next time on Overcomers
with a Cup of Tea.